welcome to another episode of
Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy.
I'm Andy Vargo, and this is my bestie,
Cheri Hardman. We decided to do something.
Yeah?
Andy Vargo and I will do anything for attention.
Yes, we will.
I'll tell you what I did. My nails, my hair, and my nails, my hair.
You gotta give yourself credit for all the things you do.
I'll tell you what I did earlier, later.
Now I don't know when it'll happen.
Earlier. And we're here to discuss my nails, my hair, and
Being the best at no matter what it is that you're doing. Now I don't know when it'll happen.
oh, it's going to be so much better now that you're here.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to be so much better now that you're
I
here.
had to go mute the other thing though. Yes. This is better. This is more like it. That's so weird. It didn't come through on my phone or my computer, and then it came through twice in a row once you sent it the last time.
Really?
I was like, I had texted you. I was like, "Oh, see you soon." 3:29, and I thought, and I was like, "Oh, Cheri probably fell asleep. It was her last day of school. And she took an afternoon
No, I've been
nap."
sitting in here since 3:30. So, all right. Anyway, here we are.
Well, how are you, Cheri? It's good to see you.
I'm great. I'm so happy to be done with work for the summer.
Yes, that has to feel good.
Came home, took a long shower, like exfoliated and
Oh, nice.
shaved some things and not others. And then laid down on the bed waiting for hot, dirty sex. And I don't know what happened to my husband, but I fell asleep. So,
Well, you look nice and refreshed and ready for an amazing summer vacation.
yeah. Yay. How are you?
I'm good. I was sitting here working on making new business cards because I made these temporary ones a little while ago, but they're kind of hard to read because the white letters go into the light. But I just needed some real quick, and I made them, and I've never been happy with them. But my branding person had just did an update on my site and took cut me out of the background. So I snagged it from my site to put on my business card so I can have that that background with that matches all my branding.
Cool.
So I need to order some more because I have some events coming up, and I'm getting down to the last of my stack here. So
That's good. That means that card's gone out a lot of times.
yeah, I'm starting one of the things I have started to really be better about is really keeping inventory of certain marketing supplies, or there's certain tools that I use when I give speaking events. I have little cards similar to this that I give out that have boxes for people to fill out, where they fill out 10 things they're going to do every day, one per day to make a change, and then they've got my branding on the back. But I have to keep these, I have to keep an inventory on hand because sometimes I get speaking gigs with not enough time, to order some of the supplies if they take a couple weeks without incurring extra shipping or
Right.
so it's just one of those things where I have to kind of have this little cupboard of stuff on hand to be ready just in case. So I'm order, and then I have some gimmicky things I do. So I that's kind of what I've been working on today. TMI, kind of boring, but that's behind the scenes.
It's interesting to me. It might be boring to everybody else, but
I mean, how it is, you have your cards and stuff. So
yeah, I get it. I finally have cleaned my table off enough that after we're done here and I eat something, then nice. I got to go through my merch because last time at Tacoma Comedy Club, I'm searching. I was having trouble finding sizes.
Yeah.
So I need, you think you're all organized, but then you have just a couple shows and you sell just enough stuff that it jostles everything. And then you kind of got to reconfigure. So
yeah. And I think for this weekend, I'm just going to take the tie-dye shirts, just take the one color to sell and be like, this is what I have. I have other stuff online if people want to order it, but I might take the bracelets too, because I sold those at the last show. So just, and those don't take up any space. They're easy.
Right. Yeah.
I like having a one size fits all kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have your towels and So,
Well, cool. Yeah, we're gonna have fun.
yes, we are.
We haven't done our intro, but you know what? Our new song has kind of
It'll
our
cover it
intro
for
in
us.
it. It
That's
covers
true.
it. So,
Just jump right into it.
yeah.
So this weekend, we've got some exciting stuff to tell everybody to come see.
So tomorrow morning, we're heading out bright and early to go to Idaho.
We're going to have a road trip. We might have to do a little on the road live.
I know, I was thinking about that. We could do that.
Some little check-ins, make a little tiki-taki on the way.
Yeah,
you guys
so
are going to be, remember how annoying we were when we were in Vegas?
Yeah, they're going to be sick of us by the end of this. No, it's going to be fun, and it's going to be a little more low-key than Vegas. But I think this is our first long road trip together, isn't it?
It is. We've gone to Pasco, and we've, traveled to Vegas via plane, but not a road trip.
When did we go to Pasco?
I'm sorry, not Pasco. Packwood. We went to Packwood. I should have remembered that name. Just a couple hours. We've gone on a couple things that are like an hour or two away, but not like 10 hours in the car together, finding out how much we love being in the car together.
I want you to know that I purposely did not make my 7-layer dip today because I didn't want you to have to deal with the consequences on the way there. So
I want you to know that I am a chipper road trip person, so we're gonna have a blast. You're gonna be like, you're gonna be halfway there, you're gonna be like, when does he ever freaking shut up? It's gonna be a blast. So if you are anywhere west of, say, the Pacific Ocean, come over to Boise as the locals say it, and join us we have a show at Twisted District Brewery tomorrow night at 8:30 local time, Boise time, and that's going to be a blast. And the next day, I'm on the Brunch of Laughs show, which is their Pride brunch this month at Watson's.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun.
Yes, it's going to be amazing.
I'm hoping, like I said, we have time to dip in the pool just for a little while. It's going to be nice over there. It's going to be hot.
Yeah, it could be fun to get warm. I just want to get a tan. Every time I put shorts on, I look down and like my legs are whiter than the white in my logo. And like, it's nice because I do like to coordinate, but I'd rather not.
Yeah. Oh.
So
let's see.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else coming up you want to tell anybody before our next show next week?
No, I'm not. I'm just going to worry about this, I think. And then, the next couple things I have are not anything I need to promote. So.
Yeah. So you've had a big week. Let's hear about it. We had our roast last week, and you've had all sorts of other stuff going on, and I had some stuff going on. What do you want to share with the folks out there?
Well, the roast I thought was really fun.
That was a blast.
But I don't know that I'm going to do any more roasts. I say this every time. But
could you see my eyes rolling through the Zoom?
Yeah, but this time I was having chest pains the week prior. I mean, it wasn't my heart, it was anxiety, because that writing on a deadline like that, it really cool. And I was just really feeling some physical symptoms because of it. And I'm like, I don't want to do this,
Yeah, I also think maybe being specific or strategic about when you want to choose to do that effort. Like, I don't know that I would do it just to do it just because it's a roast show, but it was fun to do it with you. Maybe for some special friends or special events, maybe. Because for me, what I noticed is I was razzing you about being all done and ready just because I knew it was you're crazy and I wanted to give you chest pains. But no, I didn't feel prepared even until like the day before, where I finally got some things solidified. And even then I didn't feel like, I don't know, I didn't have time to make like the slideshow like you. I mean, you go all out, so that's hard to compare. But it's one of those things where I had to, I had 2 gigs this week that I also had to get ready for. So I had to really be strategic about where I was able and willing to spend the time to get ready for the roast.
Mm-hmm. Although I don't know if I think I told you this, but I looked at the video again.
Mm-hmm.
The vote was way closer than I thought when we were standing there on stage.
Oh, yeah.
Like when I listened to it, I'm like, they might have wanted to have done that one again, but
Yeah, no,
it was
yeah.
close.
And it was close. I didn't feel like,
I didn't feel like we won and we got robbed. I think they did a great job. And
oh, they did. Yeah,
even if we had re-voted, they would have won again. But it
was
just
nice
made me feel better that, like, because I always think when I'm on stage, not always, but a lot of times I feel like I ate shit, you know?
Yeah.
And so then it was like, oh, we didn't eat shit at all. Like, it was really close.
No,
So
it
that
was really
great.
good. It was just a fun show. Everybody did awesome. And it's so fun to be on a show like that where everyone has great sets on their own without even getting into the roast piece of it. And then getting into the roast piece, everyone did a great job. And yeah, I was telling somebody that too. I was like, well, we didn't win, but I don't feel slighted. I don't feel like we bombed. I felt like everyone had a great show, and those guys were the audience choice. It was cool. It was fun. But I get what you mean. I have to decide where to spend efforts.
So now I see the comments from Allison from earlier, but when I look here, it doesn't show them. It's like so infuriating. Why can't I always see the comments when people are commenting while we're doing this?
Hi, Allison. Thanks for watching. Now I might have to delete all my comments giving you shit about not being able to get on.
Oh, no. Well, I guess I better take a screenshot of them right away. No.
Adds to the drama, adds to the...
No, I just wish that I could get it figured out, because it would be nice to be able to kind of dialogue in real time with people.
Well, at first I thought, yeah. Well, first I thought, well, maybe my phone isn't, or maybe my computer wasn't working online. I was like, well, no, because I'm watching you talk about me. So obviously I'm online.
Hear me
and then I checked my phone and it hadn't come through, but then it came through twice in a row right away. So I don't know.
Oh, well, it is what it is. We're here now. Did you hear me talking about the snacks and going to Fred Meyer?
I heard you say that you ordered some snacks on Fred Meyer, but then that was when you switched over. So, and I was no help. You said, what do you like to eat? I'm like,
you said, I don't know. So I posted and people were putting what they like to eat. I thought it might inspire me, because here's the deal. I'm going to kill my dog in a minute, but I don't go by road snacks typically. I'm typically more of a person that, like, if I get hungry, I'll stop somewhere and eat, you know. But I've traveled with a couple other women who brought like loads and loads of road snacks. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes it way more fun, you know?
Yeah, I've done both. When I was in sales, so let me back up. When we went camping and when I was a kid, we always had like the big bag of road snacks in the back of the car. So I always had it in my head that I always had to have road snacks. Well, then when I was in sales and driving all the time, I had to distance my thought of every time I get in the car to go more than half an hour, I don't have to have snacks, because it's, you know, like, it's okay for fun when you're going on a road trip, but when your road trip is every day, that's when I was out of shape and eating a lot. Kind of
like treating yourself for just your daily life or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, so usually when Dave and I travel, he'll like make us sandwiches, and he'll bring a cooler and he'll have the pop, and like he's really organized like that. But like, to me, when I'm on the road, I want to eat some Whoppers or, you know, something like that.
Right. Yeah, no,
I don't think about making a little sandwich to bring, like, that's like a kind of normal thing to eat. So like, I was trying to think, like, what really like would excite me. So I got Whoppers.
Nice.
I got Slim Jims, but they're the spicy kind, so you're not going to like them. And then somebody inspired me to get cucumbers. So I got, someone said that they slice, so I'm going to slice up some cucumbers. So I didn't get any like chips, or because I wasn't in the store.
Well, I might grab like some Pringles and Red Vines or something like that.
Yeah, so I was going to say, like, bring what you want.
Or a black licorice person. I'll get some black licorice.
I love black licorice. You like black licorice?
I do. You do?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't had that for so long. I'm going to get some.
I know. Somebody said, one of the kids the other day said, when they were talking about candy corn, nobody likes candy corn. I'm like, I like candy corn. And then I go, I also like black licorice. And all the kids went like, yeah, like they just freaked out that I like black licorice. I love it.
Well, I'm going to stop at the store like right before I get to your house because I don't know that I'll have time tonight. So it might be 5 minutes after when we talked, 10 minutes after when we talked about leaving. Because I'm going to go to the Fred Meyer right by your house.
Okay.
Because I don't think they're open before that.
Yeah, I think that is when they open.
Anyway, so.
Well, cool. So we got our road snacks. I don't know. I was thinking about making like a little playlist, but
Ooh, fun.
We're not listening to country music on the way. I just want you to know that. Because I don't want to feel like murdering anyone on the way there. So we'll try to find some kind of in-betweeny stuff that both of us will like.
Playing country music as we roll. Can we play On the Road Again? We have to play On the Road Again. On the Road Again.
Yeah, we could do that once. I don't mind some Willie Nelson at all. So, I was thinking about like, I don't know what kind of music your parents listened to when you were a kid. But I still have some leftover stuff from my parents that I like because like my dad used to listen to this song that was like the Statler Brothers, and then they'd say smoking cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo. Yeah.
That's hardcore country. So that's exactly what my mom would listen to was like Kenny and Dolly and Statler Brothers and country. My dad listened to a lot of classical music. He didn't listen to the radio a lot. He'd listen to like talk radio or classical music. And I would just remember we'd be driving in the car and he'd be playing classical. And then there would always be that really slow monotone announcer that would come on, you were listening to Beethoven's Fifth in the key of G performed by the London. And just like, oh my God, are you kidding me? But, since I was the youngest of 7 and my siblings were all in high school pretty much when I was born, or when I was growing up. So a lot of my music influences were like the 80s that they were listening to back then.
What, that your siblings were listening to?
They were listening to like 80s music, because they were in high school in the 80s. So
yeah.
A lot of that, between that and the country that my mom listened to is mostly what I would listen to. Although I do listen
my mom had good taste. My dad, he liked country and he would listen to stuff like, he did listen to Willie Nelson, but he always listened to like stuff mostly that I didn't like. But my mom, she listened to Stevie Wonder and Stevie Wonder Songs in the Key of Life is the one album I remember her playing a lot. And she would play the Four Seasons too. And it'd be funny because sometimes I'd hear Cheri and I couldn't tell from it, like, is she playing that song or just sometimes she would call me that way. Just,
Yeah. Well, it's funny that I roasted you with the Stevie Wonder song.
I know.
I remember my sister.
Oh no! I think I cracked my new tablet. I dropped it earlier, and I can't tell if that's a crack or a smudge. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I remember my sisters listening to like Simon and Garfunkel and Elton John and Billy Joel and that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But we're gonna have a fun old road trip.
We are. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I broke this brand new tablet. Luckily, I got insurance for it. So
that's good. I am excited about a game that we are going to play one of these days on one of our next shows, but we have to play it when we have a guest.
Oh, what is it?
I thought it would be fun to go through our messages we've sent each other and take a quote that either I've sent you or you've sent me, and our guest has to choose who sent it.
Sent it? Oh, that's good.
who texted this?
That would be good. Yeah, so if you think you'd be good at figuring out who sent it and would like to apply for that job, maybe.
And you have a personality.
Well, I'm not just going to take anybody.
So Cheri doesn't get back to you.
Sorry. Oh, I know I'm not a very nice person sometimes. I got to judge Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Club's contest last night.
Nice. And I heard a little bit about it, but I'd love to hear more.
Well, it was interesting because first of all, I was just there to support Janice and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came and said, somebody wasn't showing up. Could I judge again? Now, the last time that I judged, I kind of I gave them each, not each, but most of them, like 2 positives and a negative. And this time, the first 2 people up were so good, I really had nothing negative to say. So then after that, I didn't want to say anything negative to anybody else.
Yeah.
Make it feel like, why did she say something negative to me, So I only said the positives of everyone, first of all. The other judges, one got progressively, let's say, he was enjoying the free cocktails that Nate was giving him, and really, I think enjoyed him a little bit too much by the end. But it was a lot of fun. But gosh, it was so hard because all the scores, on my scorecard, were so close. Several people were tied, and or just varying within a point of each other.
Yeah, that is.
I don't see the other judges' scores at all.
Yeah, it's not like you're sitting down comparing who are we going to send through. It was this is what I think, what they think.
It's just numbers. And so started off with rescreen. Now, the other weeks of the contest, the person doing the first spot has struggled.
Mm-hmm.
Not this week. He was perfectly fine, totally comfortable up there.
Well, he's very good. And when you mentioned some of the names that were there last night, I hadn't looked at the lineup yet, and I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't imagine picking between.
Right. And then right after him was Jesse Warren.
Yeah, there you go.
So they're boom. They were both so good. I'm like, oh my God. So what I do when I'm judging, I don't know how other people do it, is I give the first person what I think their score would be on this scale. They're all 1 to 10, except for the audience participation or audience enjoyment or whatever it is 20 points.
Okay.
And so I just give them what I think. I imagine your average comedian is going to be 5, just like your average comedian that's been doing it a couple of years, let's just say, would be a 5. If you're better than that, then I go up accordingly. So I do the first person, and then I kind of judge everybody else against that first person in a way.
Yeah, yeah. I think anytime you're doing any type of judging like that, you have to set a base and then go, okay, well, was this higher than that base or lower than that base? So no matter what, that first person is always kind of the benchmark.
Yeah. So that's how I do it. And, then when you put all the scores together, it didn't come out at all like mine came out, really. So, I was really shocked Jesse didn't make it into the next step. And Jesse's an amazing comedian. He's really funny, on his feet. He comes up always and says something about something that just happened in the room.
I thought Jesse did make it through. He didn't, huh?
No.
Yeah, because he's very good. He's so good, like you said, with every time I've seen him do crowd work, I think he loves doing crowd work. I think that's something, so you can tell because he just does it so well.
Well, he's good at improv kind of stuff. So he was in my top 2, but he didn't make, So that's the thing is you can have wildly different scores. And Janice Fox got a standing ovation from the crowd.
I heard that, which is just awesome. It's been fun to see how much she's been getting out there and how much more comfortable she's been.
She's finally been getting booked. She was having a kind of a slow start there, and then she finally got a good video, and I'm like, okay, now you take that video and you send it around, and then she's been getting booked. But Nate even stopped the people that were standing and said, who are you with? Who are you with? Are you with Janice? To make sure to make the point those weren't just her people that were standing.
Yeah, because it's one thing, I was I think I told you earlier, I'm we're updating my website, and so one of the things I needed to do was find recommendations that I might want to highlight on there. So I went through every platform that I'm on, every forum that I've gotten feedback, and I put them all in this Excel spreadsheet. And and then I went through and highlighted some that had a little bit more weight to them, or maybe specified some messaging. But it's really nice when they're from people that either hired me or that aren't, because a lot of friends have given me recommendations, and I so much appreciate that, because I wouldn't get where I was if I wasn't with that support. But when it's from the people that didn't come to support you, and then you're getting that support, it really kind of levels you up in how you
Right.
feel you're
Well,
doing.
especially there, because they were there to see somebody else.
Yeah.
And they didn't stand up during their friend's set, but they stood up for her. So
Yeah.
so that was pretty cool. So there were some surprises, and then it ended up being like a second, like Nate called he doesn't normally he just says the names, but he said the names in order, and there was one person in first place, two people tied for second, and three people tied for third. So
and it was cool that he put them all through and didn't say, well, I'm just going to do first and second place to get the 3, or do some sort of thing, because you see places where like, well, we only have room for 4, and so we have to cut it off somewhere, and we're going to take the audience interaction, whoever got the highest on that, or we're going to pick one thing and try to be as fair as possible. But it's nice that he didn't do that, because any other night, depending on who was there.
Right. The thing that he said he'll change it. He'll change how he does ties next year.
Sure.
Because the problem is that if you have certain dates scheduled out for the the prelims and the semifinals and the finals, if you have too many people that you've let go through, then those shows are gonna freaking be hours and hours long.
Yeah, I totally, that it is important not to overload, for sure, and hopefully that'll kind of come out.
Then you just have to have a system in place where, in the event of a tie, this is how we're going to do it. So there's that.
That's exciting.
The other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit was I've been listening to some podcasts lately. And I wanted to talk about one with you that I thought was interesting.
Okay.
I was listening to Gabriel Rutledge. I don't know what it's called, The Drive Home or something like.
Oh yeah.
On his way home from shows, he just talks in his car, and that's his podcast. And he is so engaging, like even not doing material, just listening to him talk. It's really interesting, especially when you like comedy anyway. And so you're hearing,
when you like comedy and you like Gabriel, like it's easy. But he's cool.
But there was one thing that he brought up that I thought was interesting. The episode was called Sweater Gabe. Okay. And he talks about himself as a young boy, and how, he had a bowl haircut that his mom gave him, and he, maybe wasn't really that attractive, but he's trying to find his persona, or how he wants to be. Like, am I a guy that wears a baseball cap all the time? Or am I a guy that does this all the time? Am I a guy that wears this sweater all the time? And so that's where Sweater Gabe came from. But then, so I thought maybe, I haven't really thought about this, but I thought we'd talk about, like, can you remember when you were a kid? Like, did you ever think about what kind of style of clothing you wanted to wear, or what kind of a persona you wanted to have for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Like for me, it was going to high school was a big deal in that regard, because I went to a Catholic grade school and wore a uniform the whole time. So when I never felt comfortable wearing jeans, because I always wore corduroys and stuff, and never really, like, I had play jeans that were just kind of rough, but it was like that, or I wore slacks to church or whatever. So I didn't really have like jeans that I always felt they were out of place or dorky or not quite fitting right or something, not cut in the cool way. So when I started wearing jeans, I felt really awkward at first. And I remember, like, the first time I got a baseball cap in high school, like I'd had them as a kid but never really wore them or whatever, but I got this Mariners hat. And I remember like wearing that maybe like the whole year where I was like, I guess I'm going to be a baseball cap person now. And it was kind of annoying because you had to take it off during class and stuff.
Right.
And you couldn't wear it in the buildings. But I also had a sweater phase. I remember like maybe sophomore, junior year where it's like I probably had like 14 different sweaters. So I was like, because I felt like I should dress a little nicer to go to school. And but I definitely went through phases, and I rarely ever wore shirts that didn't have a collar. Like I never felt comfortable in t-shirts. And even, you know, I worked in grocery stores back when we had to wear a shirt and tie to work in grocery. And it was, by the time they loosened it up to where we could wear a polo shirt, not even a t-shirt, I was in management, so I still had to wear a shirt and tie. And so even in like, I would only ever wear t-shirts if I was like mowing the lawn at home or going to this, you know, like going to the beach or something. I didn't even wear them like on my day off. It was always polo shirts. So it's been really weird the last few years to switch over to where I almost always wear t-shirts. And now I'm kind of transitioning out of that back into wearing more polo and button downs to kind of present more professionally. So yeah, it's something I've kind of bounced all over the place with.
Now my mom dressed me. She was very how do I say it? She turned me maybe into like a little version of her. You know, like she would give me a bouffant hairdo. You've seen the pictures.
Yes. Yeah.
And she would have me wear like the perfect little outfits. But like when you're in junior high, I remember one year we went to get school clothes and she bought me these polyester pantsuits that you could mix and match, like the different jackets with the different pants. And it was just like, they were horrible. I hated them.
They were too adult.
I couldn't tell my mom that I didn't like them, you know?
Yeah.
And I had a friend whose mom like fucking crocheted or knitted an outfit.
Oh.
And the pants were like this too short. So I was not the worst dressed one in the room. My God. So I think when I finally, I don't know, I remember like wearing something cute in 8th grade. So at some point, finally, I was able to, you know, pick out my own clothes. But up to that point, it was like, she made me look like a little middle-aged woman, you know. And I can remember kids saying stuff to me like, how do you always look so cute when you're wearing such ugly clothes?
Oh. Well,
ow, that hurt. That hurt.
Like almost a compliment.
Yeah. So there's that. But it's like, I think once I got to like boys and stuff, it was all about like, I'm going to dress sexy.
Well, and that was
did.
My thing was I knew I was gay in middle school, and I didn't like, I always tried, like I wasn't like trying to hide it in the fact that like, oh, I'm living this double life that I don't want people to know about, but it wasn't how I wanted to be. So I never, like, people would ask me what kind of music do you like or what, you know, whatever. And I never wanted to say what I liked because I didn't know if it was the right thing. And like, I listened when I was in high school, I remember listening to like a lot of the oldies station and stuff. And I liked that. It was just fun music, but that wasn't cool. So, you know, I should have been saying I liked Nirvana or whatever was out at the time, but I didn't even know who those bands were. And so same thing with clothes. It was just like, I think that's partially why I always dressed nice and almost more adult-like, because I didn't know how I should dress as a teenager. And if I dressed like older than my age, then it just looked like I was dressing up. It wasn't like you're not fitting in somewhere.
Right.
I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. I've been thinking about Sweater Game all week, you know, and just thinking about, I remember in 5th grade, my mom doing my hair up in this big old bouffant hairdo, and I hated it. And I didn't have the heart to tell her that I didn't like it. So like once I got to school, I just flattened it down as much as I could. Mm-hmm. And my mom never knew until she got it was school picture day. When she got the pictures back, she's like, what did you do to your hair? You know, and then that's when she's like, why didn't you just tell me you didn't like it? I'm like, she never really kind of gave me the the opportunity or ask me how I felt, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I was a much nicer child than I am an adult, I guess. But the other podcast I've been listening to is Adam Tiller's podcast.
Oh, Fathom and Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I've
looks.
listened to a
I've
couple
seen clips of it. I
episodes.
haven't watched. I haven't listened. I barely listen to podcasts, but I've seen a couple clips. It looks fun. What I've
Well,
seen.
I was going down a Gabriel Rutledge rabbit hole. That's how I ended up there after Sweater Gabe. Then it was that, you know.
Okay.
And so he had Gabe on, and then it went like to the next episode or the previous episode, which was Kermit. So I watched
Okay.
Kermit,
Oh yeah.
and that was really good. And then yeah, so then I saw some clips, and I saw Jesse Warren on there talking about some really interesting stuff. Like, fucking, that guy's a nut. I love you, Jesse, but you are a nut. So it was just really interesting. I'm not going to go into the details. That's for him to tell, but you should go watch it and listen to it or
I
whatever.
might have to check that out. And the fun thing is, like, when we're watching shows like this, it's a bunch of people that are friends that we know, and you know, some of them we are closer to than others, but it's fun because you know them enough to enjoy all that camaraderie and getting to know them a little bit more in a way that you might not get to at a show. You know, like this last show was fun because I don't see Adam as much, and he was on Roastamania, and you know, I don't see Adam and Greg. I've seen Todd and a little more, and I've seen Mike a lot. So you know, those are the ones I know more.
I've really grown an appreciation for Adam Tiller. Like,
yeah, he's cool.
When I first started seeing him around, you know, he's a dude. He's like a dude, and the dudes all liked him. And I'm so sick of all the dudes that I just really had a hard time understanding why everybody else was so excited about him. No offense to Adam.
I'm pro dude, just so you know.
Well, we do know that. I thought he was boring, and then it was like, then the first time I worked with him, I'm roasting him.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole roast was singing about how boring he was, and I really meant it. But
and I meant it.
I know, but this is all going to come around but now I've watched him a few more times. He's gotten a lot better, and I really enjoy him. He's really smart. He's a good writer. Mm-hmm. I don't quite understand his shaved head persona. When he's such an attractive guy, he's like almost deliberately making himself be less attractive. I was going to say ugly, but I stopped myself. Makes himself, I think, less attractive that way. That if he had some hair, it'd be like, you know. So I don't understand that choice. But
well, if he grew hair, he would look less like Wentworth Miller.
I don't know what that means.
He's the guy from Prison Break.
I don't watch Prison Break.
How do you not know somebody on TV that I know?
I don't know. I don't like.
He's also gay, but I thought he was hot before I knew that. I hope.
Well, I've never even.
I hope get into reality.
I've never even heard anyone mention that name. But anyway, Adam, I've really grown an appreciation for him. He's a really nice guy. He's really funny. I think he's really going somewhere. And to watch him do these interviews, he's really good at it. So.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like having those conversations is a whole different thing. Okay, here we go. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, I knew that's what you're doing, so I just gave you permission.
This is Wentworth Miller, the guy from Prison Break.
Oh.
So, see the similarity?
Well, he's better looking than Adam Tiller, but yeah. No, I see what you're saying, but yeah, I don't like that look, that skinhead look.
Well, I don't usually call it skinhead look.
Well, it is a skinhead look. Well, okay, it's a stumblehead look then.
I mean, other people have shaved heads that aren't skinheads, or that don't have a choice in their hair.
If you can see every little bit of stubble, they have a choice.
You know what's funny? I just recently saw the Seinfeld episode where Elaine's dating this guy who's bald, and she can't believe that he would choose to be bald when he has the option. And then he tries to grow his hair back, but it's receding almost as much as George's. And then he's shocked because he'd been shaving his head for like 3 years, and all of a sudden it's like, what? I've been throwing it away. He starts growing it in, and Elaine's like, what about this patch over here? And he's like, what are you talking about? No.
Yeah, but anyway, so Adam's really got a good podcast. So I'm happy for him. And, but it does bring something up with me. And then I know we're almost out of time. It brings up with me that all the guys know like where the rooms are and who does this, like it used to be a triple run, but now there's rooms here and they all share that information with each other. Nobody shares that shit with me, because I'm just not part of that. Well, let's go together and go hit this room, this room, this room. And it's like, I got to be a freaking detective to find any of this out.
Yeah, when I got the list of bookers, they said, don't give Cheri the list.
See, I knew it.
Not for Cheri's eyes. Well, before we go, I do want to tell you, I had a couple good speaking gigs this week, which were just a lot of fun. And it's really made me, each time I do it, one of the things that, like I spoke for a group of business owners and property managers, and this was one where someone in that saw me speak in January recommended me to one of their counterparts, and then they hired me for this gig, which is how it's the easiest way to book a gig. It's how you want it to work, right?
Right.
But it really, I forced myself the next day, I always send the thank you note, the follow-up and all that. But I forced myself when I sent the thank you to just specifically say, hey, is there anything that would make working with me easier or better, or, a better experience for you as an event booker? And they didn't have anything to offer, which is good that they weren't going, oh, I wish you would have done this. I'm forcing myself to ask that every time, because one of the things that I have learned is that people are going to hire you not just for how you do in the moment, but how was the process from the beginning to the end. It's like if you hire someone to make your flowers for your wedding, the flowers could be great the day of, but if you're having to ask all these questions and do all this follow-up, and you're nervous about, are they going to show up or all that, versus if they say, okay, here's how this works when we do weddings. I'm going to check in here. I'm going to order them this day. I'm going to confirm that we're on track. I'm going to follow up with these questions, because there's these things you might not have thought about, because you might not have gotten married 100 times or whatever. And so one of the things I'm working on now is a checklist with a packet, so that I am consistent in all those things. Like I didn't feel like I dropped any balls, but I want to make sure that I have it. So when I get a gig now, I want to be able to say, I'm going to put this, I saw you laugh at me saying balls. I love your maturity.
A 12-year-old boy, I don't know, sorry. I was trying not.
Anyway, so now, but I had this kind of realization afterwards of, okay, this is where it goes from doing a gig or two to this is the business of how we do it, so that there's a process, but also documenting that gives me something to hand over as I bring on an assistant to say, okay, we have this gig, September 30th, here's the 6 weeks out, 4 weeks out, 2 weeks out, and did we check all the boxes?
Cool.
Anyway, so it was fun. It was great. And again, I had to think about what to wear, because I don't want to overdress and show up in a shirt and tie when the event's at a golf club. I did wear a suit with no tie. That's kind of a safe bet professionally. You're never too overdressed that way, but you don't look underdressed. I probably could have worn a polo shirt, but I had to put a tank top on under this one because it was cut in glass, and I was like, oh no, I can't go out. I'm going to a networking event after this, and I was like, I don't think I could show up that perky. Anyway, but
well, good. That's good. I mean, getting systems in place like that is you know, but when it's your own thing, like you're the one that has to develop them, you know,
Yeah.
so.
But one of the things, I've done this every time I have changed jobs, I have tripped over myself a little bit the first 3 to 6 months. And then I would have this realization of, oh, this is just like when I was in this position. It's just these parts, you know, correlate to these parts.
Interchangeable, they're different.
Yeah, but I don't always pick up on that right away. And now I'm looking at it going, you know what, I used to do grand openings for grocery stores that we were remodeling. I always had, when I worked for QFC, it was at a point where we were doing a lot of remodels from stores and opening new stores. So every month or two, I had one of my stores, I was responsible for getting the bakery up and running. And that meant the opening order, hiring, training, who's getting promoted to go there, coordinating with vendors, all that kind of stuff. And I just had this checklist, 6 weeks out, we need to be here, 5 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks. And when I went into sales, there was a lot of that same kind of stuff when there were trade shows or when there were new product lines we were bringing up. It was the same kind of thing. And now I'm like, oh, I need to treat every event with that same level of, pull out the binder and just start going, here's what we're going to do. But it takes me a couple of years to go, oh, that seems like it would make sense. Because I'm a fast learner.
We do what we can do. I know. I finally started doing some, like when I do an event,
Mm-hmm.
and like I have a show or whatever, there's quite a few different places where I advertise it.
Yeah.
Like Craigslist and The Stranger and here and there. And so I finally just made myself a spreadsheet so that I can make sure.
Yeah.
I used to just go, well, where else? Where else can I, put it? And then, at least now I got a checklist so I can just go down the line and make sure.
And each time you think of a new, each time you do it, you think of 4 or 5 places one time, and another time you think 4 or 5. Well, each time you forget 1 or 2. And so after a while, when you have them all listed out, you're like, okay, well, here's the 10. And if I think about 1 or 2, it's not instead of, it's in addition to. So.
Yeah.
Fun. That's where all the growth comes from.
Right. Well, I will see you in the morning. I've got a pork chop to eat that I'm really excited about. Yeah. So.
I will see you in the morning.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.